The old colonial era buildings in Kuala Lumpur are the major attractions in the city, but there should be a guide map of visiting them all. On May 2025, RapidKL, the city's major operator of rail transit and bus services, has launched the new Pulse app with self-guide maps in lifestyle page, self-guide maps of tourist attractions around the city, and one of the maps is the Heritage Trail. The map highlighted the unique architectural wonders of the old Kuala Lumpur. What are the buildings highlighted in the Heritage Trail self-guide map, and is the walk worth the time and effort? Let me be your local guide in the heart of historic Kuala Lumpur and visit the buildings listed in the Heritage Trail. District Centre of Kuala Lumpur was once the centre of government and business of the country. In 1965 Kuala Lumpur tourist map, the buildings marked black are government and significant private buildings. The suggested tourist attractions are in illustrative form, non-listed in the Heritage Trail. Again, none of the locations highlighted in the Heritage Trail is mentioned in KL Tourist Map 1973. Most of the government offices has moved to Pusat Bandar Damansara in 1981 and moved again to Putrajaya in 1999. As a result, the old buildings are either converted into creative spaces, museums, or simply abandoned. Okay, back on the Heritage Trail map. There is no specific instruction of which path or road you need to take. It is assumed that the trail started in front of Masjid Jamek. In Masjid Jamek station, walk to the underground part of LRT Ampang Sri Petanjang Line platform heading towards Sentul Timur, an underground path that run under busy Jalan Tun Perak. Before November 2011, Masjid Jamek was practically two separate stations, elevated Masjid Jamek station above and underground Benteng station below. The reason for the separation of these two stations is that the stations were built by two private companies who ran two different rail transit lines. After the nationalisation of Star to form Ampang Sri Petanjang Lines and Putra to form Kelana Jaya Line, these two rail transit lines are under state-owned company Prasarana, doing business as RapidKL. The nationalisation of these rail transits makes Masjid Jamek the first rail transit interchange without the need of two separate tickets. After exiting Masjid Jamek station, walk to the left passing by Masjid Jamek the mosque, not the station. To reach the first destination, walk on the pedestrian path next to a busy road. And you might be thinking nobody walks on this pedestrian path. There is no one walking behind. Oh, there is one. Only one. Nobody else. I will tell you the reason why hardly anyone walks here after visiting the first location. The first building that suggested to be visited is the building behind this. It is from a survey building, but it used to be a city theatre. The building was once the Federal Survey Building and later used as information services and as town hall. In the 1965 and 1973 tourist maps, Tourist Information Centre was located at the corner of former survey building. But since the last tenant moved out, the building was partially abandoned with no visible site of conservation works. The southern half is renovated as City Theatre. Between 2015 until 2017, City Theatre stages Mud, the story of KL, which is the longest continuous theatre performance in the country, where a theatre show rarely exceeds 3 days. The leftover of the show still remains on the City Theatre's wall. Behind the City Theatre is Old Supreme Court. As with the former survey building, Old Supreme Court no longer functions as a court and awaiting the completion of conservation works for its next fate. Back to pedestrian path, you might be wondering how people walk from Masjid Jamek Station to historic city centre if hardly anybody walks by former survey building. because behind the old Supreme Court there is a newly built pedestrian bridge crossing Gombak River. After Masjid Jami station, turn left, walk under the canopy and find the grey coloured path. Follow the grey path and you will find the pedestrian bridge. The bridge was built as part of River of Life, the multi-billion ringgit waterfront rehabilitation project that turned the concrete line Klang River into an attractive and decorative location. My supreme brilliant brain forgot to turn on the mic, but what I try to say here is that the bridge is not suitable for lone wheelchair users as the bridge is quite steep and will be slippery at rain. After the pedestrian bridge is Jalan Raja and the next location is just across the road. Welcome to the second destination, which is Merdeka Square, located in the heart of the city. Merdeka Square or Independence Square is the focal center of the metropolis as the square is surrounded by important buildings in the 20th century Kuala Lumpur. Sultan Abdul Samad Building to the east, St. Mary's Cathedral Anglican to the north, Royal Selangor Club to the west and other former government buildings to the south. Before the square existed in 1894, the area was used as vegetable garden before the municipality took over and cleared out the land for parade and sporting ground. Merdeka Square used to simply call as playing field or padang, which is same name as Padang in Singapore, and that explains why there are concrete base in the middle because it used to be, and still is, a cricket ground. Other than cricket, another popular British sport which is football was played here as well. Between 1945 until 1957, Selangor Football Association, which is today Selangor FC, played at Merdeka Square after the old stadium was destroyed during World War II while awaiting the completion of Merdeka Stadium. Until 1987, the square was owned by Royal Selangor Club next door as a sporting venue. After that year, Kuala Lumpur City Hall took over the ownership of Merdeka Square and given Royal Selangor Club a land at Bukit Kiara as a new sporting venue known as Kiara Annex. 3 years later, on the 1st of January 1990, in conjunction of Visit Malaysia year 1990, Padang was renamed as Merdeka Square to commemorate its role in Malaysia's independence. In the center east of the square is where the first Malayan flag was raised, replacing Britain's Union Jack in the midnight of 31st of August 1957. Visit here during the holidays, especially Merdeka Day, the Independence Day on the 31st of August every year, and also at 60th September, which is the Malaysia Day. There will be more people here instead of just empty now. Only foreign tourists right now. Other than major national holidays, Merdeka Square is a popular place for city events, evening picnic, iftar location during Ramadan and demonstrations of all sorts of causes. The next location is just across Jalan Raja. The next building, number 3, is just next door, which is Sultan Abdul Samad Building. Sultan Abdul Samad Building is the current name of this opulent building. Can you guess what is its former name? Before the construction of Sultan Abdul Samad Building, government offices were scattered around Kuala Lumpur, especially at Bukit Aman. Under the direction of State Engineer of Selangor Public Works Department Charles Edwin Spooner, a new government building was located at the east of Padang, was designed by A.C. Norman. Initially, A.C. Norman proposed a classical design similar to Singapore's Old Town Hall, which is today Victoria Theatre, but it was rejected due to excessive cost. Norman's assistant R.A.J. Bidwell and young Arthur Benison Habak redesigned the building into Indo-Saracenic style, the architectural style that combines the Indian, Islamic and classical architecture, the style that shaped and set the modern architecture in Malaysia for decades to come. The building was officiated in 1897 and used to house government offices. In 1957 map, the building was simply called as Government Offices, while the 1965 tourist map marked the building as Federal Secretariat. The current name Sultan Abdul Samad Building was bestowed in the year 1974 in the memory of Sultan Sir Abdul Samad, the 4th Sultan of Selangor who reigned Selangor when the building was officiated back in 1897. The building witnessed the moment when Malaya achieved its independence from Britain, when the tower was decorated with Merdeka neon signs and chimed 12 times on the midnight of 31st of August 1957. As more ministries and departments were added up to cope with the increasing government functions and increasing populations, government offices slowly moved out from Sultan Abdul Samad Building to newer buildings in Jalan Duta, Pusat Bandar Damansara and eventually in Putrajaya. Between 1984 to 2003, Supreme Court, which is the current Federal Court, moved out from Old Court Building next door to Sultan Abdul Samad Building, and the adjacent buildings will function as part of the judicial courts. The copper domes are the gift from Australia installed in 1982. Previously, the domes were black, as the City Theatre domes are. Federal Court moved to Putrajaya in the year 2003 and Kuala Lumpur High Court was moved to new building near Jalan Duta, which is today Jalan Tuanku Abdul Halim, in the year 2007. Between 2007 until 2024, the building was occupied by Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture before the ministry fully moved to Putrajaya. Even the new court buildings cannot escape the Indo-Saracenic architectural style that is predominant in Sultan Abdul Samad Building. The domes and imposing tall building perhaps symbolize the authority and power of the courts. As in 2025, Sultan Abdul Samad Building is under major refurbishment as part of Warisan KL project to rejuvenate the old city centre as the new civic district of Kuala Lumpur. Before we go into the next destination, the location near the 50th anniversary of Kuala Lumpur as the city monument used to be the place where statue of Sir Frank Swettenham once stood. But the statue is now kept in the National Museum. The next location is located just across Merdeka Square. Destination number 4, Selangor Club Building. Established in 1884 as an exclusive club, it becomes the social gathering spot for the British officers and locals who's who. The current building, built in 1910, was designed by Arthur Benison Habak. Remember his name? Uniquely, the club building was designed in Tudor Revival style in contrast with surrounding buildings with domes and arches that Habak redesigned also. In the year 1984, the club celebrated its centenary. Selangor Club was bestowed the royal title by Sultan of Selangor, hence the club is known as Royal Selangor Club afterwards. As mentioned previously, Merdeka Square was once a sporting ground used by Selangor Club. When Kuala Lumpur City Hall took over Padang in 1987 and as a compensation, Royal Selangor Club was given a land in Bukit Kiara, which is today known as Kiara Annex. There is a series of dress code that need to be observed in the club. For example, dress should be appropriate such as in smart casual. No round neck in bars, no flip-flops, no shorts, no torn jeans. Any member of the public could enter the building, the club building, by the invitation from a member. You want to be a member? The entrance fee is 18,000 ringgit, not including the other fees, and you need 2 members as a proposer and a seconder. And so far, there is no appearance of anyone who is associated with old money. The next location need a little bit walk. That is a really pretty tough crossing, no marks at all. Just cross, as long as you're alive, you're okay. And finally arrive at the next location, an old yellow bungalow. Destination number 5, Rumah Tangsi, which is located at Jalan Tangsi. Really old colonial bungalow. This is Rumah Tangsi if you just focus on the building. Using ultra-wide lens, the path from Merdeka Square to Rumah Tangsi is located with garbage bins. Rumah Tangsi was built for Lok Chow Kit, a Penang-born tycoon who opened the first department store in Kuala Lumpur. The location of Chow Kit's department store is at Holland Bay, which is today Jalan Mahkamah Persekutuan, just behind Sultan Abdul Samad building. At its early years, the mansion was called as Block Hall. In the 1957 map, the mansion was marked as a hotel and the road name was Perak Road. In the 1965 tourist map, the road name already changed to Jalan Tangsi. The mansion functioned as a hotel until 1973, which was later used as the headquarters of Malaysian Institute of Architects or PAM. PAM moved to the new building in Jalan Tanduk Bangsa in the year 2012, thus the restoration of the old mansion project began in the year 2014. After the restoration project complete in 2017, the mansion was named as Rumah Tangsi or Tangsi House. The current name Rumah Tangsi is derived from Jalan Tangsi, of which the road name is the Malay translation of Perak Road. Yes, the word Tangsi exists in Malay language vocabulary. Occasionally, there are events in Rumah Tangsi that may be visited by the public either free or ticketed. For the next location, we need to cross back the road and walk back to Masjid Jami' Station. Across the road is the next location. Destination number 6, Oriental Building, which is abandoned. Oriental Building is located at the intersection of Jalan Tun Perak and Jalan Melaka, right in front of Masjid Jami' Station. Unlike the Indo-Saracenic architecture that is dominant in public projects, the building was built with Art Deco style, a new style in British Malaya at the time. The reason is that unlike government buildings designed by Arthur Benison Habak, Oriental Building was built for a private client. According to the Straits Budget newspaper dated 29th of December 1932, the tallest building in Kuala Lumpur at that time was built for Oriental Life Assurance Company Limited. With the height of 85 feet or 25.9 meters, it was the tallest building in Kuala Lumpur at its time. The architect of the building is Arthur Oakley Coltman, who designed the building in Art Deco style, the contemporary style in the early 20th century. Oriental House used to house several government offices such as Department of Public Relations and Radio Malaya. For some reasons, the building was abandoned and not occupied, perhaps awaiting the next conservation works. The last location is furthest in the map by walking at the narrow pedestrian path next to the speeding vehicles. The last destination in the guide is Tarikan Museum, which is kind of historic but small. Telecom Museum is a neoclassical style building built in 1928 to house the manual telephone exchange. In the 20th century, telephone was a symbol of luxury and important necessity in business. The building was almost slated for demolition for a new development before being saved and conserved as a museum. The courtyard is free to enter while the museum ticket price is 4 ringgit for the Malaysians, 8 ringgit for the foreigners and half price for senior citizen and disabled. There are old telephones. Lines of payphones that I am already old to remember that I used this when I was young. Telecom Museum on the weekdays, there is no one here, which makes it feel like the whole museum is kind of your own private session to visit. At the end of the hall is the mobile phones, a symbol of ultimate luxury, as if the landline is not exclusive enough. After visiting Telecom Museum, there are suggestions that appeared in my head. Perhaps there could be a machine where the visitors could type any messages in Morse code on paper as a souvenir, or set a payphone as a photo booth to recall the memories of not having enough coins while calling someone. Or just come to Old Kuala Lumpur railway station, there is a non-functioning payphone at platform 1. God knows how many calls were made here to the hometown when someone safely arrived in KL. Please conserve this telephone. To clarify, this video is not associated with RapidKL and any makers of the trail maps. Thus, I am free to comment and criticize all the good, bad, ugly and horrors that the self-guide maps don't tell. First, to the foreign viewers, yes, including Singaporeans, Kuala Lumpur is a city designed for cars, not humans. Pedestrian path is good in major tourist areas such as Merdeka Square, but most of the city areas are hardly walkable at all. The pedestrian paths are narrow, dangerously close to fast-moving vehicles, and zebra crossings are rarely respected. In short, if someone without car or motorcycle living in KL, the person is fucked. Don't let me start on wheelchair accessibility. You will be lucky if the place could be accessed by wheelchair. Second, some of the buildings listed in the Heritage Trail are off-limit to the public. City Theatre and Sultan Abdul Samad building are under conservation works. Only members can enter Royal Selangor Club. Rumah Tangsi is open to the public if there is a public event. Oriental building is abandoned and you need to pay to enter Telecom Museum, but at least Merdeka Square is free for all. Third, there are off-the-list destinations you may visit throughout the trail, or maybe enlisted in another trail map, such as Masjid Jamek, one of the oldest mosques in Kuala Lumpur, or Textile Museum located at the southern end of Merdeka Square. If you like tall buildings on the way to Telecom Museum, you might see Li Yan Lian building completed in 1960. With 14 stories, it was considered as the first skyscraper in Kuala Lumpur, taller than any building in the city at its time. Also, Maybank Tower is next door. The Heritage Trail might be suitable for people who like to visit abandoned old buildings that are not open to public. Since the historic buildings are so photogenic, it might be a good place to test the photographic skills as a background for the IG post or a backdrop for the latest TikTok dances. Do you want to try to follow the self-guide map in the heart of Kuala Lumpur? You may comment down below. If you want to follow the Heritage Trail self-guide map, you may follow the instructions as per explained in this video. The walk starts at Masjid Jamek station, which is the interchange of Ampang Sri Petaling lines and Kelana Jaya line. The approximate total time of walking and visiting all 7 landmarks is around 1 hour. The weather might be unpredictable, such as heat or rain. It is better to bring an umbrella and water bottle. Reference list in the form of articles is in the description for your further reference. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something new about landmarks in the Heritage Walk and decide whether it's worth it to follow the self-guide map. Thank you so much for watching again and see you in the next video.